So what do you see? If you look at this, right, what can you see? You see a nice part of water, nice water features, beautiful scenery, right? What do I see? Well, I see the same, right? But my mind immediately goes in Feng Shui mode, right? I'm trained to see things from a Feng Shui perspective. And when I see such a beautiful water feature, I cannot help but think about abundance, right? Water in Feng Shui is associated with money, right? So today I want to talk to you about water features in Feng Shui. So few people will know that water in Feng Shui is important, but usually people will think that, you know, maybe you want to have some kind of fountain in your home, some kind of, I don't know, aquarium or stuff like that. But actually it is so much more powerful, so much more important if you have a water feature that is natural. From one point, you know, from one perspective, if you look at it, right, if you look at something as big as this, you will feel that it's very strong, it's very big, it's very, very big, right? I mean, we're talking about a quantity of water that you could not possibly, you know, come into competition with from a simple aquarium which has, what, 100 liters or so in your apartment, right? So from the perspective of volume, this is so much more powerful. But there's a different consideration. For example, when I do Feng Shui for clients, and they are clients who have a house as opposed to an apartment, what is the difference between having an aquarium inside the house and, let's say, a pond outside, right? Or some barrels filled with water? There's a huge difference. Let me tell you a story. So when I started dabbling into Feng Shui and I learned about you know, aquariums and water features, of course I applied it. Well, you know, I applied kind of everything that I could on myself. So the idea was that I applied this in the way that I actually used an aquarium to amplify the wealth opportunities coming my way, and the aquarium was inside the house. So what happened was that when I was talking to potential clients, the percentage of clients that accepted my proposals, right, very clearly went up. But I still had to look for clients. I still had to, you know, do a lot of prospecting. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't have that many clients, right? So I needed to be quite active in looking for them. And then I implemented a water feature on the outside. I put a pond in my garden. Luckily, I live on a landed property, so I was able to do that. What happened was that from that day forward, I didn't need to talk about things with clients anymore. I didn't need to prospect anymore. People would be looking for me. Because you see, this is the magic of Feng Shui, right? It's about environment. It's about opportunities, right? So what happens is that when we look at water features, internal or external, or even mountains, right? Because they can be internal, as in, for example, crystals like quartz crystals, or, you know, salt. They can be placed inside the house, or you can have, you know, like hills or mountains on the outside. So both the mountain part as well as the water part can be internal or external. What happens when it's on the outside is that the universe, the environment, brings things to you. So it's much, much better to have a water feature like this one on the outside, rather than have, let's say, an apartment in an area of the city which simply is, you know, lacking water. There's no water feature in any vicinity, like for example 1 or 2 kilometers around, there's no water, right? It is very limited what can be done with such a property because the environment simply does not have the energy in it, right? So that's a problem. However, right, it's not just the idea that, you know, we need to have a water feature like that, like a pond or a river or stuff like that, and everything will be fine automatically. It doesn't work like that. It can be that, yes, most of the time there will be a lot of wealth coming from there. It is significantly less likely for you to be poor or having money problems if you live in an area with a lot of water. However, water can be a source of positive change in your life, or it can do good on some parts and actually do a lot of bad stuff on the other. So for example, in Feng Shui we talk about direct and indirect spirit, right? We want water to be in so-called indirect spirit locations. So for example, we want water to be in the north, the east, the southeast, and the southwest sectors of the house as measured from the center of the building or apartment. If it's in these places, it has a high likelihood of generating more income, more prosperity. Now, when I say high probability, it is because it also depends on what flying stars you have there. So, you would need to have a Feng Shui consultant do the measurements and do the math and see what the energetic structure is there, because water will certainly amplify something, but it may not necessarily be what you need. But if it's in these sectors, it's going to be okay. At least it won't harm you, or not too much, right? It gets complex. I want to put a lot of disclaimers onto that, because the best idea is to have a Feng Shui consultant help you with that. But sometimes it happens. I mean, for example, you've seen me walk along this path here, and you see that it's kind of a long-ish river. What would happen if you have, for example, a house which is sitting here, right? Is that you would have water present on at least 3, if not 4, cardinal sectors. That means that you will have water on some sectors which are good, but you'll also have water on some sectors which are not so good. So what happens when you have water on some sectors which are not so good? Water in Feng Shui is seen as yang, as in activating, right? So what happens when you activate stuff is that you're going to be busy, right? However, when water is in some sectors where it shouldn't be, it affects, as in it hyperactivates you, right? So it may be affecting your sleep, it may be affecting your health, it may be affecting your personal relationships, and it will be affecting your ability to actually, sit still and center, right? Because sitting still and being centered is a yin activity. It means you need to stay still, you need to, center and be still. Whereas water is yang, it activates you. It's very good for generating profit, but it's not so good at all for helping you just stay and be and live and enjoy, right? So water is not good for that. If it's placed in the good sectors, it will not hyperactivate you, right? It will not have these effects. But if it's not placed there, then it will, if it's placed in the bad sectors, it will have a very detrimental effect. I have a story that comes to mind. I had a student of acupuncture who came to me, and she wanted me to do her Feng Shui, and she had just moved into a rented apartment, which is in some part of Bucharest, and it was surrounded by water. I mean, she had water on five of the 8 cardinal sectors, and of course, more than half of these were with places where you wouldn't want water to be. And I told her, listen, she said, I told her, the strong point of this apartment is that it's going to help you make a lot of money and become a very, very much more visible. She was also starting her business and she wanted this visibility. But I told her, look, I don't advise you to stay in this apartment for more than a year, because you're going to feel a gradual hyperactivation that is going to translate into restlessness, is going to translate into inability to sit still and enjoy life. And true enough, what happened was that I wasn't staying in a place where there was that much water, and it showed. I mean, for example, she had a growth that was absolutely exponential. She had, she wasn't doing much, but everything that she was doing was getting to the right people. She was getting, invitations to go and talk on news shows, television shows. The number of customers that she was having in her business just, shot up extraordinarily. But in 6 months' time, she came to me and said, Octavian, I don't know what to do. I mean, business is booming, just like you said, but unfortunately, I feel that I want to run away. I want to run away from my house, from my life, from my everything, because I just can't sit still. I can't sleep right. I can't feel centered in myself. And it's just like, unbearable at a point, because, what's the good of having money and having a thriving business if you can't enjoy it and enjoy life? So, that was with everything that we could have done, try to, remedy stuff, try to put her in some sectors and use the apartment that she had in such a way that we mitigated, or tried to mitigate up to, whatever point was possible, all these bad effects. Had she not done that, the negative part would have come up much stronger and much sooner. But sure enough, after about 8 months or 10 months, I can't remember, she really couldn't take it anymore, and she moved out. And she moved out to an apartment which was with much less water. Sure enough, the number of clients went down. The business became a lot more challenging, but compared to what she had, anything would have been more challenging, because she couldn't handle the many clients that she had before. So it all went a little bit more muted. She still had enough clients. She still had quite good prosperity, but there was a very clear decrease once she moved out of there. But she also was much more able to find her center, to find more internal peace and enjoy life more. And she came to me and she said, after having stayed in that new apartment for some time, she came to me and said, it is true that I have fewer clients and business is not booming as it was before, but I have peace. I have inner peace. I have, I'm able to truly enjoy life. And I'm able to sit still, and I'm able to, enjoy the little moments, whereas before I couldn't. It was like an internal agitation and a restlessness that wouldn't allow me to do that, right? So she said I would never go back, right? So this is the power of water, right? So I'm talking to you guys because I want you to truly understand that Feng Shui is not about amulets or plastic thingies or water fountains. It's not about that. Feng Shui literally means wind and water. And it's much more powerful to be in an environment with real, natural water. This is gold. This is literally gold. When I say literally, it means that, it will bring you, abundance and prosperity financially. Of course, it's more complicated than that. You need to know how to use it. You need to know how to make it work. But a general rule of thumb is you want to have an apartment or a house which is within 1 kilometer of naturally occurring water. In Feng Shui, there's a general rule of thumb when people want help to move to an area and to be able to look for an apartment or a house in a certain area. You want to have natural landforms, because natural landforms such as naturally occurring water features and or mountains and hills and stuff like that. So basically something that has highs and lows, those are the yin part, whereas water is the yang part. These are the elements in the environment that actually charge energetically an area. And the building, the apartment that we live in, is just how it manages, right, is responsible for how it manages that energy that is present in the environment. You can have the best apartment from a Feng Shui perspective, from a Feng Shui structure, right? It's not going to do much if it's not charged by the environment. Think about it like, you know, solar panels. You can have a field full of solar panels. If it's night, you're not going to do much with it, right? So you need the sun, you need the energy. If you have the energy, yes, then of course you need the solar panels as well. You need the apartment or the house to be able to fully take control of that. But you need to have the energy first. In Feng Shui, there are two main schools of thought, right? One is called San He, and one is called San Yuan. In San Yuan, it's the emphasis is much more on you know, being able to maximize what you have, being able to ride the wave, you know, always be on the crest of the wave, because the premise is that you're already in an environment and you cannot hang on, sorry. You cannot change the environment, so you might as well make the best of it, right? Whereas in Sanha, the idea is choose your environment, and once you've chosen the environment, if the environment is full of energy, you don't care about the structure. Well, you care, but you don't care that much, because if there's a lot of abundance in the environment, then it's going to be enough. You know, it's like, you know, if you have, which would you rather have, right? Would you be a rich person having a bad day, or would you rather have the other, you know, variation in which you have a good day as a poor person, right? A bad day of a rich person is going to be much better than a good day of a poor person. So this is the difference in approach. So my point with water, try to find one, right? And then get a Feng Shui consultant to help you maximize the benefits, right? So that you don't mess up your life. Because water is a source of energy. It can be for good or it can be for bad. But first you need to have it, right? First you need to have something. And even if you don't, there, I mean, even if we've talked about, you know, external water features being much stronger than internal ones, hey, you need to start from somewhere. And internal water features were also where I started and where I felt, you know, the necessary changes to get to the ability to have external water features. So, you know, don't worry if you don't have any water features in the environment. It would be better if you did. But if you don't, there are still things that can be done with internal water features. So this is the episode in which we talk about Feng Shui and water features. We'll be talking about mountains in the next one. I'll see you there.